Here's an interesting thing. Just to drive this home, to get us to understand that thoughts really are things. Thoughts are things. Masaru Emoto, a guy over in Japan, did some research with water. And just to get to the gist of this, he took distilled water, in the same bottle of distilled water, he froze a vial or a test tube of that, and when he brought one of the crystals out and put it under a microscope, that's what it looked like. Okay, now we're going to use that same bottle of distilled water for the next 4 slides I'm going to show you. All of these slides came from that same bottle of distilled water. And what they did is they took that distilled water and they put it in a test tube, and the 5 or 6 people that were in the laboratory simply just prayed over that water. That's all. Just projected thoughts of prayer toward that water. Let's see if it changed anything. I don't know if there's any of this thought stuff or not. Okay? And that's what it turned into. So, that was interesting enough. Let's do this. Let's write on one test tube, I think compassion. And on the other test tube, let's write, you make me sick. Okay? And we'll project those thoughts toward that one that says, oh man, bad water makes me sick. Okay? This one over here has compassion on it. And that same distilled water that we see back here turned into this. Same water. All it was thoughts. They wrote it on a test tube, they thought about that one, they wrote it on a test tube, they thought about that one. And those thoughts projected by those few individuals in there changed the formation of those atoms that are making up that water molecule, and it crystallized out into those different forms. Thought that was interesting. So then they exposed it to some music. Mozart's symphony up here on the left, and heavy metal music down here on the right. They said, well, that's interesting. Okay, so maybe thought has something on it. Let's just do something double blind. Let's take these test tubes out. Let's have somebody that's not even a part of the experiment. Let's have them write 2 names on these test tubes. And after they write those names on them, let's cover them up, have them cover them up and bring them back in. And then let's fill these test tubes with that same distilled water and see if just a word written on it with no thought from us, because there's no water in there. It's just simply a word written on a test tube covered up. So we don't know. For all we know, it may be Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. We don't know. Okay? But they put the distilled water in there, and then they froze it out. They pulled the crystals from it. They put them under a microscope and said, wow, look at this one, look at this one. And when they pulled test tube A off, what name was underneath it and what was underneath test tube B? Adolf Hitler and Mother Teresa. Think they might have a little bit different vibrational frequencies? And they did this after both those were deceased. They're not even here. But there's an energy with that association, and just the word changed the vibrational frequency. And it wasn't because the people in the room were saying, oh, Adolf's going to be an ugly crystal, and Mother Teresa's going to be beautiful. No, they didn't have this clues. Double-blind study. Thoughts and words create our vibrational frequency. That's what I want us to get and understand. That's the way that it works. Our present physical experiences are a perfect expression of our energy. See, I don't have it all figured out. But I want you to understand something. I'm open to the truth. That's all I'm searching for. Okay? My purpose in life is to help people reach their full human potential. And I come to find out that what I learned in graduate school wasn't going to allow it to get done. So I continue to search for any possible way that I can help people reach their full human potential. And I come to find out that the physical body doesn't have all the answers. And I come to understand that stress had a lot to do with it. And then that led me on this 2-decade search, 21 years now. I've been chasing down this whole energy part of it, trying to figure out how it works. And I found a lot of answers out along the way. Not claiming I've got them all, okay? But every time I find some, I add it to the arsenal and continually share more and more, okay? And what I've come to understand is this. This physical body grows into this energy field. This energy field is created primarily, initially, from our ancestors and our energetics. But after that, we learn behaviors, and those behaviors dictate the vibrational frequencies that we attach to the experiences in life. And if those learned behaviors lead us to being a worrywart, a cynical person, negative, fearful, low self-esteem, we're going to attach those vibrational frequencies to those experiences. Those experiences are stored in our subconscious mind, and whatever feeling we charge that with, that is in turn going to dictate. It's going to dictate. You understand that? It's going to dictate our vibrational frequency, and therefore it's going to dictate our autonomic nervous system balance. Because what takes our autonomic nervous system that runs this whole physical body, what takes it out of balance is vibrational frequencies that are survival-oriented. Sympathetic, survival, fight-or-flight nervous system. And if we continually have behaviors that are attaching survival physiology or and negative feelings of stress and worry and anxiety and fear to it, and every one of the life experiences are stuck in here with those feelings, our nervous system is stuck here. And then you add enough time to that down the road, that leads to a disease process, because this body isn't able to swing into parasympathetic and use the healing side of the nervous system like it's supposed to. Now here's the real catch. You ready? Our ancestors had vibrational frequencies in their energy field. Some feelings in our ancestors were more predominant than others. When we come into this world, whatever the vibrational frequencies are that are most dominant in our energy field is ultimately the experiences that we begin to attract into our life. Okay? And as we attract those things into our life, how we respond to those dictates what we're going to attract next. So as we go through life, and our most predominant vibrational frequencies are feelings that are in our energy field, it's attached to all of consciousness out here. And if I vibrate and let's say that I'm cynical and hateful, okay? And cynicism and hatefulness and ruthlessness is the predominant feelings in my field of energy. And I continually attract experiences back to me to support those feelings. People that I can be cynical or negative toward, people that I can be ruthless upon, and I continually project that to support this present vibrational frequency. I will continue to vibrate at that frequency. Okay? All the while, those frequencies are still holding my nervous system sympathetic dominant, creating physiology that's eventually going to lead me to a shorter life. But the key thing that I want us to understand is that this energy field is attached to this consciousness out here. There's a sea of consciousness of infinite information out here. Because this whole universe was made up from our Creator. And we're part of that creation. And therefore, us being an extension and a child of God, whatever the vibrational frequencies are here is what we're going to ultimately bring back into our life. Now here's the catch. As this talks about our present physical experiences, be it health or disease or relationship difficulties or finances, all of those are physical experiences, and they are a perfect expression of our energy. Tough not to swallow. Some of us are places we don't want to be. We've all been there, but it's part of our journey. Okay? Because first and foremost, remember the size of the spiritual ball? That spirit is the biggest because it's a dictating factor. How we use our mind is also a strong dictating factor. That influences the spirit, and also both those things influence that body. Thoughts are things. Yeah, we see them change the water, but I'm telling you something. Thoughts are real things. They change our vibrational frequency, for the good or the bad. Okay? And there are no mistakes. Okay? One big step. Ready? One big step into the spiritual realm. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is we step into the spiritual realm and we put our hands around it and we squeeze real tight because all of our happiness is dependent on the things of this world. We're in for some trouble. Whereas when we can take the experiences of this world, we can let go of those. Then we can leave this physical realm and we can step way back here in the spiritual realm, at least periodically, and look at the experiences that we've attracted via our spirit. And then we can stay in the spiritual realm. I think there was a guy that came to visit us a couple thousand years ago that says, not of this world, but of the spiritual world. And when we can step into the spiritual world and we can allow those experiences to facilitate our spiritual evolution, our spirit will evolve. But we can't do that when we're over here white-knuckling every experience, thinking that our happiness is dependent on this. It can't happen. Listen,